This is the Real Estate Investing 365 podcast, your go-to source for real estate investing strategies so you can start living the life you want and get where you want to go. With your host, Justin Hanna.
Welcome back, everybody. Another episode, Real Estate Investing 365. Today, I got with me Charles Dobens. He's the multifamily attorney. He's a founder of Multifamily Investing Academy. He's owned like 20 million or more worth of multifamily real estate himself, and he's assisted clients in billions of dollars in acquisitions. And he's located in Massachusetts area. So, hey, Charles, thanks for being here.
Hey, how are you, Justin?
Doing great. Just
Good.
Trying to, we were just talking offline for a second. Our kids are all home and trying to find time between all that. I think it's harder for my wife, because our kids are little, so she's got all the schooling and everything to do too.
So you don't do any of that, right, Justin? You're kind of a man's man type of thing. You don't help out around the house. Is that what it is?
Oh no, I'm helping, but luckily, I used to always be like, man, I got to go out to work today, but now I'm like, sorry, honey, I got to go to work today.
Yeah, and like down in the basement or something. Yeah, like mine. When I'm at the house, my wife has a nice office at the house, so she took that over, and now I whenever I'm at the house working, I'm in my bedroom. And, it's a beautiful house. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And it's a place I like to go to watch golf on the weekends, but man, I don't want to work there. I just, so I come up here to my studio and I get a ton of work done up here. So, but the thing is, my kids are a lot older, and my two oldest, who were living in the same apartment in Harlem because they both worked in New York City, this past weekend they shut down the apartment, gave their notice to quit. And they moved out, and now they're living at home.
Oh man,
with no end in sight. So the other two kids go back to college in the fall. These two,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it could be a long haul. So
okay, cool. Well, lots of things happening. Obviously, the world's kind of going crazy as we speak. I think this is the first week of June, so everybody knows what's going on, Corona and the protests and all that stuff. So
the protests,
all kinds of things going on. So, but before we dive into all that, why don't we give people a little bit of background, like exactly who you are and how you even got interested in real estate probably many years ago.
Oh yeah, back when I was a kid, my heroes were the real estate investors, developers here in my hometown of Nashua, New Hampshire. And when I graduated from college, I took the path of least resistance, as I say, which was going to work in the family business, which was insurance. And as I tell you, if anyone has a kid that's looking to go into insurance after college, there's something wrong with that kid. Insurance is a fallback position. It's not something you aspire to. And I know typically when I say that, I've ticked off one group of people, but then another group of people like, Charlie, you're so right. You're so right. I know exactly what you're talking about. So, but then I did that for a couple of years. My dad was the consummate insurance salesperson, and I was never gonna get out of his shadow. And so, I ended up going to law school. While I was in law school, went to law school nights. So I was working the insurance business in a certain aspect of the insurance business. And I was doing incredibly well in it. And so when I got out of law school, I couldn't really quit. And so I went out and started my own insurance company. And I did that for about 10 years. And I was going to be in an early grave. I was working 7 days a week. It was, that entrepreneurial person, that works 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Sometimes your employees make more money than you do. That described me, and I was going to be in an early grave. It was terrible. And so I came home one day and I said, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. And my wife says, what do you want to do? I said, I've always wanted to own apartments. that is where I see myself. I've always wanted to do it. And she says, let's do it. So we sold the insurance business. I took the money I made from that, and we went out and started buying properties. And within, short couple of years, we owned over $20 million of property ourselves. And then we syndicated some deals and put deals together. And then the market crashed. And, for guys like you weren't around. You probably weren't in the real estate business back then. But man, it was tough. And I kept some buildings, I lost some buildings. But what happened was I got a lot of calls from other multifamily investors who I was friends with. And I was, I had my law license, and I was doing a little bit of law. And they call me up and they say, "Hey, can you represent me through this foreclosure that I'm going through? Can you help me out? Can we save anything?" And I said, "Sure, I can. I understand the process. I can help you through it." And what I came to realize was that many of these people bought these properties the wrong way, and in such a way that they were never going to make any money at it. And I looked at these things. I said, "Why did you do this deal? Why do you even bother with it?" And he goes, "Oh no, this is going to be great. We're going to make all this money." I said, "No, you're not. This thing's a dog." And what I realized is that as an attorney at that stage, you're just holding their hand through the downfall. You're just reactionary. You can't do anything to help them. And I realized that on the other side, if I consult to students and to investors and help them through the acquisition process, that's where my real value is. And that's when I started the Multifamily Investing Academy. And that's how I have about 150 clients, students in the program, and they have direct access to me. They don't do anything unless I, give them the blessing. And, I make sure that my students don't make the same mistakes that I made. Cause I made tons of mistakes, in the acquisition side, and I'm making sure that they don't make those same mistakes. And so that is really where my focus has been for the last 10 years, is helping out new investors buy property the right way. And that business that consulting practice has really done incredibly well and continues to do well. And I've got a few things, new things on the horizon that I'm very excited about as well. So that's really it. I mean, we just sold 2 of our complexes. We have 2 more complexes to go. And the next side of my business will be to build apartments. And the demand for our product is so incredibly high that to find good deals is tough. And especially up here, if I'm looking to build my portfolio in Southern New Hampshire, because I love this marketplace, it's a very strong marketplace. I've got to go out there and create the product. And it just announced the other day that the golf course that I grew up learning how to play on, the 36-hole public course, this is its last year. And next year, Amazon breaks ground for a distribution center, and they're going to put up, 5,000 new employees in this area, and there's no place for them to live.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So that's, it's a crazy time. It's a lot of fun. And, I've been through the ringer before, and I'm looking forward to growing my portfolio now and my business on all sides. So.
Yeah. No, that's exciting. That's a lot of stuff. And I want to dive into that, but I want to take a step back real quick. Did you know people growing up that had apartments or rental properties, or how did you really even get the idea that that's what you wanted to do?
Oh, the guys in our town who were rich were the guys who owned the apartments. I mean, one guy was a part owner of the Boston Red Sox, Sam Tamposi, and that guy was legend here in Nashua, and he was the nicest man in the world. And I thought, man, that's what I want to do. And there was a story that I tell, John Dobens. I call him the millionaire egg farmer, and he was a Dobbin. He was distantly related, and he owned an egg farm. And he picked up a book called How I Turned $1,000 into $1 million in My Spare Time with Real Estate. That book changed his life. Uh-huh. And he was a client of my father's for real estate, for insurance. And my dad needed something signed one day. So he said, "Charlie, go see John Dobens and get him to sign this thing." So I walked up into his little property management office. And I said, "John, you are doing exactly what I want to do." She said, "So why aren't you doing it?" And Justin, I was just like everybody else. I came up with every excuse in the book why I couldn't do it. I mean, I just got married. I got a new mortgage. I got kids on the way. I got all this other stuff going on. I can't start buying real estate. Do you need to take a break? Is somebody one of those crazy kids?
Yeah, one of my kids keeps knocking on the door. I'm sorry about that, but I was like, "Get out of here."
My kids were doing that to me yesterday too, up in the bedroom. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really? And you want to know what one of them was? He wanted to use the scale. I'm like in the middle of a business call and you want to go weigh yourself.
Yeah.
Like, geez.
Sorry, my wife's in the shower, so my 3-year-old just got up and she's like pounding on the door. I'm like, oh my gosh, go away. Anyways,
Hey, let him in.
sorry.
Let him in. Let him in.
So continue. So
Yeah.
he had that book and
so I go into his office. This is what I want to do. I came up with every excuse in the book, and then he reaches behind himself and he grabs off his bookshelf the book and he hands it to me. He says, "Read this book. The numbers are outdated, but do exactly what it says, and you will have the same life I have." And so I took that book. I went home, put it on my bookshelf, and did nothing. I think it was another 10 years before I finally said, you know what, I got to do something. And 10 years wasted because I just thought, I can't do it. No, it's not the right time. You know what? There's no right time.
That was like probably early 2000 or like late 90s.
Oh, that would have been, no. That would have been, no, it was 20 years. I sat on the shelf for 20 years. It would have been, let me see, early 90s. Okay. Just before I went to law school when I was still in the insurance business. So early 90s. Yeah.
That's the thing is everybody, oftentimes people think, oh, well, now is not the right time. I'm doing all this other stuff. Well, it seems to never be the right time. It's almost like having a kid, right? It's never the right time. It's just, you just got to do it. But and all of a sudden, like time clicks by so fast and you look back and now 10 years has gone by.
It's gone.
And there's people that talk, say, oh, I was going to buy real estate then and they never did. And now they still haven't bought it. But I think it's just making the numbers work and finding the right deals and just get in as soon as you can, right?
Just be in the game.
Yeah.
I have so much activity going on right now because I'm now back in the game looking to buy land. I've got more opportunities right now, fuel in the fire or fans in the fire right now for land development. That because I'm in the business, I'm out there every day. I'm making 2 offers by tomorrow. Somebody else just sent me a 10 land that's already been approved for 10 units. I want to go build on that one. I mean, it just get out of my way. Don't tell me I can't do it. Just get out of my way because I don't have much time. I mean, really, Justin, you never know. I just turned 50. I tell everybody I'm 72 years old, and that's the only way I get confident.
Dang, you look good for 72.
You see there? That's why I do it. But I just turned 56, and we have a thing in my family, my brother and my sister and myself. When you turn 56, you wait 13 days, and then you have another birthday. Because my mother died when she was 56 and 12 days. And when you hit 56 and 13 days, you've now outlived my mother. And what you do is you realize how young she was and how fast it goes.
Yeah.
And how much you never know when it's all going to be gone. So don't, just get out of my way. I don't have time anymore for people to say I can't do things. I just don't have time. So
yeah, definitely. I definitely relate to that same kind of thing. So what is it that you mean exactly by being in the business every day? You're out there and you're grinding it out. So for somebody that's like new, right, and they want to get in the business, but they don't necessarily want to go single family, which I want to touch on that in a second.
Sure.
How do they just get in the business? Like, what do they do? They're like, I don't know. I don't know anybody. I just need to get in. But what's the steps?
Well, if they're absolutely fresh and they've never done it before, they've got to really start educating themselves. And there's so many, topics to go, and you can learn on the internet. And Bigger Pockets has got great stuff. But on my side, when you become my client, you're going to own a property. That is it. I take you through the entire process. I make sure that all the roadblocks that typically get in your way, I remove them for you. We just, earnest money. I can get you the earnest money. A key principle to qualify for the mortgage. I got that all lined up for you. Everything that is a roadblock, I've already solved your problem. But I can't solve the problem of you being the roadblock. Mm-hmm. If you're not making offers, and everyone knows my mantra, if you're not making offers, this is nothing more than a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
And it's not only expensive by the amount of money you're spending on your education, but it's also very expensive the amount of time you're wasting that you'll never get back because it's gone. So you've got to get out there and make offers. If you're not making offers, Justin, it's just you and me sitting here talking, you sitting in your basement, me sitting in my condo, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. You got to make offers. That's how you let the world know. I mean, I tell you, the reason why I'm making offers is why this one particular realtor keeps sending me deals. The reason why I'm making offers is why I'm seeing, my partner is racing as fast as he can to keep up with me, because he wants to get these offers out as much as I do. So it's the activity and getting excited and knowing that, hey, if I'm not making offers, nothing happens. Nothing
Right.
happens.
So
Yep.
and I do agree with you that I think mentorship is definitely, or getting into a program like yours is definitely probably one of the best ways for somebody that's brand new to get out there. Now, should somebody do you think the multifamily route is the way to go first, or the single family, or what do you think? Because you kind of just went right to apartments, right? But you had lots of obviously more capital than most people. You sold the business. Not to downplay it at all, but I'm just
let's take the capital out of it, because the capital, if you know what to do, you're going to find the capital, you're going to make everything work. But let's talk about it just from nuts and bolts standpoint. I had run businesses before, so a financial statement was not foreign to me. I knew how to read a financial statement.
Right.
And remember, I'm in the Boston marketplace.
Yeah.
You can't buy a buildable lot for less than $350,000. I mean, there are people out there putting houses on credit cards, and that's fine. Hey, your wife's now out of the shower, and now she's torturing the kids. I can hear them screaming in the background. Boy, that's a woman after my own heart. So, yep, good woman. Glad you married her. Okay, so if you screw up around my neighborhood, you could be in big trouble financially, because you just spent a lot of money. These other guys were buying, tracts of homes for, and putting it on their credit card. That's unheard of up around here in Duxbury. So it was more risky for me to do the single family than it was to do the multifamily, because the multifamily was cash flow. I wasn't buying a building; I was buying cash flow, and the cash flow statement showed me what the property was really worth, and so that made a lot more sense to me. It was a lot more logical. So going into the multifamily side, that was just the way to do it. All I'm saying is that's what was right for me. Yeah. It doesn't mean that some other person can't go a different path, but I looked at it and said, I know I want to do multifamily. So I'm not going to fool around with single family. That's how you got to look at these things.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And there's all aspects. There's people out there making tens of millions of dollars from single family, just because that's what they got into and that's what they understand the most. But for me personally, I do like the multifamily route better, because economies of scale. You have one tenant leave. Well, who cares? You got all the other units, or 10 tenants leave, or whatever. But that's kind of different stories.
But here's the thing, and this is, I don't care what side you're in, you have to understand that the real estate business is whatever side you're in, it's a sales and marketing business. You've got to prospect every single day looking for your next deal, and you've got to ask that person to buy. In our business, asking the person to buy means that you've made an offer.
Yeah.
That's your first sale. You've got to sell your offer to the seller. And if he says no, you lost the sale. You move on to the next one. But it's a numbers game. It is strictly a numbers game.
Well, let's talk about that prospecting. So you're talking about going out and should you go to a broker and talk to the brokers directly, or go right to the owners of the properties? And if you go to the owners, how do you even get their information? Because a lot of, multifamily is tied up in, whether it's corporations, or they have a trust running it, or something like that.
Listen, the correct answer to your question is yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You go everywhere. All of it. You don't, first off, I'm not a fan of brokers, but they're a necessary evil. Okay. You've got to go through brokers. Going direct to the owner is a fantastic way, because when you start talking to an owner, they love talking about their business, and they'll talk your ear off. And they know other people in the business, and they typically own more than one property. So you find those owners, you build a database of the owners in your marketplace. So here's what you want to do. The first thing you want to do is, and I can't believe how fast I'm talking. You got me going, Justin.
No, it's perfect. No, you're doing
it. People in Texas are like, that boy talks so fast, man. He must be from up north.
I'm sure you know how it is. Some podcasts you get on there, it's like pulling teeth trying to get people
oh my gosh,
correspond back and forth. So
tell me about it. Oh my God.
I'd rather have you just take the wheel.
I've had one guy And at the end, I even told Deb, my assistant, I said, don't even use that podcast. That one's not even going to make it live because
Yeah.
that hurt. It hurt me. And she calls me up and says, hey, you got to write a little bio on a little blurb on this podcast so we can post it. And I said, okay, what's the guy's name? What do we talk about? Who is he? And
Yeah.
She's going to remind me. And that's when I know it was a bad interview. So okay. So you got to go to the brokers, but you find the market that you like. All right. You got to maybe one or two markets, but you've got to focus. These guys who think, oh, I'm all in all 50 states, that's bull. Yeah. You need to understand your market, or those brokers are going to run circles around you, and they're going to sell you a bill of goods, and you're not going to know because you don't know the market. So you've got to know one particular market. Once you've identified that marketplace, your market has become a closed universe. The number of potential opportunities for you in that marketplace is a finite number. It is. Mm-hmm. I mean, and one great system that we use to identify this is a website called Enodo Inc. ENODOINC.com. Mark Rutskin is the guy who invented it. He just sold it to Walker Dunlop. It's a brilliant website. It's really cool. My students get a huge discount for being a member of it. But what it does is I tell people, so you want to be working in Greenville, South Carolina. Let's look at Greenville, South Carolina on Enodo. So I type in Greenville and it pops up. And all the multifamily properties in Greenville show up as little gray dots all over the map. And we can blow the map out, we can pull it in. But you get to see that if I'm looking to do Greenville, this is my closed universe. Mm-hmm. This is it. And I got to come up with, I used to joke, and then I actually got the bumper stickers. I said, I have bumper stickers that say, life is too short to own C-class property. Okay, and I had that, oh my God. Yeah. I want to come up with a t-shirt now that says, it just takes one gray dot. And it just takes one gray dot. And what I mean by that is all it takes is one of those owners that is represented by a gray dot on that Enodo map. It just takes one to say yes, and you are in business. Yeah. So if you know you're looking in Greenville, if you know that this is the market, every single month, ask those owners to sell to you their property. And direct mail works every single time it's been tried. Going direct to the owner, a lot of these properties, the properties between 10 and 40 units, mm-hmm. they fall within a spectrum that is really untouched, because the big Marcus and Millichap brokers, they don't like to deal in that size properties. And the residential realtors, they don't understand those types of properties. Yeah. So it really falls into this gray area where if you go direct to those owners, they want to talk to you. They're looking, they want to know, who can I sell my property to?
And oftentimes those properties, right, are like still mom and pop owned or something. Oh, yeah. They've been owned for a long time. So they might be more willing to like do owner financing or do creative financing with you, where the bigger ones are like corporate owned or like really experienced people that are owning these huge complexes, and they're not going to deal with you.
Those old mom and pop people, they don't go up on their rents. They just want little Mary to stay in her unit. I don't want to, and that's a value play. That's a huge value play, and your property is going to increase in value very quickly because of those types of deals. So, and then remember, as I say, to own 1,000 apartments in 5 years, you just need to own 20 in the first year. That's it. Just double everything after that. Don't sell anything. You will own 1,000 apartments in 5 years.
Okay, so does it really matter what market you go into, or can you really make it work in any market? Should you stick to your local or go far away? What do you think about that?
Okay, what I think about that is that you've got to ask yourself the question: where do I plan on being in 5 years? Mm-hmm. Because it's going to take you 5 years to really build this business. It's going to take you 3 years. If you keep growing the way I'm telling you, in 3 years you will be able to quit your job and never look back. In 5 years, you'll be a multi-millionaire, and that's how multifamily works. But you've got to ask yourself the question, where do I want to be in 5 years? If it's your own backyard, because this is, your kids are young and you're not looking to change school districts, then okay, look in your own backyard. Every one of my heroes made their millions right here in Nashua, New Hampshire. is there anything great about Nashville? I think it's a great community, but is there anything like it's by the ocean or it's near a university? No, none of those things.
Yeah.
But it's just a great place to build a business.
Mm-hmm.
So all these people who rush around this whole phony concept, this is an emerging market, so let's invest here. Listen, back in 2006, 2007, everything was an emerging market.
Right.
What was an emerging market in 2009? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
True. Yeah.
So you got to buy the fundamentals and make sure that where you're buying is where you want to be and that the numbers make sense. So I say I look in my own backyard. That's why I'm looking to build. I want to build right here in Southern New Hampshire. I know it cold. And the thing about it is, if you decide you're going to look at some place that's 1,000 miles away from you, that you've never been to before, that some guru has told you is an emerging market, and you think you're going to go there, those brokers see you coming a mile away, especially when you call and you answer the phone and they say, hey, what type of properties are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for a C-class property in a B area, or I'm looking for a B-class property. Oh, really? Oh, are you now? Oh, sure. Hey, and, that broker picks up the phone, covers up the mouthpiece, and yells to everybody in the boiler room, like, I got another live one. Who do you know who's looking to dump a property? And they'll tell you, oh, yeah, I got just the deal for you. And they'll show you this property. And how do you know it's a C and a B? Have you even been to this market before? Have you walked the streets? Have you gone there at 9 o'clock at night to see what goes on at late night? You have no idea. And these guys are just going to run roughshod over you. So,
yeah, no, that's definitely true. So the market, you can do it in any market, but in today's economy, you kind of mentioned, the 2006 pre-recession.
yeah.
Are we kind of at the same spot? What do you think about that? No. Why not?
Don't even say that.
I don't know. I'm asking.
I'm too old to go through it again there, Justin. Come on.
You're the man, so explain it to us.
Okay, so let me explain something. Back in 2006, have you ever seen the movie The Big Short?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what my favorite scene is? And I say this to everyone. You know what my favorite scene in that movie is? The stripper scene.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so, because they're talking.
The stripper owns 6 properties. She owns 6 condos.
Right.
How can a stripper qualify for 6 mortgages?
Yeah. They're
all liar loans.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2008 and 2009, if you could fog up a mirror, you could get a multifamily mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
They would, there was so much money. They were trying to put it to different places. And if you could just, sign on the dotted line, you could be a multifamily owner. And then the market crashed. And everybody found out that there was no such thing as sound financial underwriting. Those deals were not underwritten correctly. They fixed the problem. And they've become a lot smarter now as to who can qualify and what deals qualify and what areas qualify for what types. The portfolios now are much more sound than they were back in 2007. So for that reason, we are not in the same place we were before. Another reason, and this is key, is because the product that we sell is in such high demand that the supply and demand rules are so in our favor. We sell apartment units, and they're not building them fast enough for the amount of people who need them. I did a big webinar a while back. You can find it on my website on Big Shifts Ahead, that book written by Burns and Porter. Mm-hmm. And those guys are brilliant. I love what they talked about. But they said that, this generation, I think it's a generation after you, 73% of those people will never own homes.
That's crazy.
It is. It's crazy. Yeah. They're just going to rent. And back in my day, like when you got out of college, I got to buy a house. I got to be, just like my parents did. Nowadays, the kids are like, why would I want to own a house? That doesn't make any sense. And they're right. They're right. And that's just the lifestyle. And that's, so that's what we're looking to change. One of the reasons why I decided to build in Southern New Hampshire is, it came up, you have to understand this concept and multifamily. This is a relatively novel concept, especially for owner operators of performing assets and not the developers. Developers call, typically two types of property, A and C class property. A class property, as we all know, those are the luxury places.
Mm,
They are loaded with amenities. They have package rooms. They have fitness centers. They have, car parks and garages, all that
yeah.
type of stuff. The C class property are brand new units, not like what we call C class, and we call C class 1970s construction, 1970s construction, flat roofs, single
Right.
pane windows, chiller boilers. That's a C class property, and they have C class tenants. Nowadays, the new construction that is C class is also called workforce housing. Those are the people, the nurses, the firemen. These are people who are looking for a place to live, and they can't find it because they can't afford a luxury apartment. They need something that's not as nice, or just doesn't have the amenities. They don't need all that stuff. They just need a place to live. So the new focus is on workforce housing. All right. So if all you had to do, if you want to find out if your market's good or not, just type in the 9 communities around, where your focus is. Go to apartments.com, search those areas, and look at those C-class workforce housing properties. And out here in southern New Hampshire, every single one of them has a waiting list.
All right.
You can't get in. You can't get in. That just tells me we got to build.
Yeah, no, definitely. So what you're saying is we're not going into another, maybe economically, who knows what's down the road, but as far as like a huge drop in prices and like everything going on sale, it's not really going to happen nearly as bad because the underwriting is so much better, right? Like in order to get the funding for the property, your debt coverage service ratio has to be properly, you have to have so much down. They're going to look way more into it than they did before.
And then not only that, but the other thing is, this whole concept of having a key principal to sign on the dotted line, that is important too. Somebody that has the balance sheet, the liquidity, the experience to sign on the dotted line. I mean, that's what I have. I have 150 people in my portfolio on my clients.
Yeah.
My clients are key principals for other clients of mine. So this is how we solve that problem. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot more sound, but okay, everything is sound. But the thing that's screwing things up so far is the coronavirus and this whole thing of shutting everybody down.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just tell you, it's worse than people are letting on. I think the occupancies are starting to drop. The collections are definitely dropping. It was okay in April.
Uh-huh.
Okay, May was a little tough. June, I just got an email that I'm going to blast out to all of my list from a guy who owns he's probably close to over 5,000 units, and he's a friend of mine, and his partner is one of my clients. And he asked me to blast out this letter to go to the legislators of particular states who are talking about waiving rents, like you can't evict for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
And this guy says, hey, that's going to wipe us out. That's going to, we've survived up to this point, but you tell our tenants that they can't pay for 2 months. We're done. We can't pay utilities. We can't pay for trash pickup. We can't pay for any of these things. We just don't have the money. And he's right. And the thing is that these what the government is doing now, they don't quite understand the effect and the repercussions of what they're doing. And this is going to, we talk about how we manage property and we value property. We value property based upon cash flow. Right now, the cash flow is tanking.
Yeah.
And that goes to value. So yes, you're going to see the value come down.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's kind of, I haven't quite heard that exactly because everybody I've talked to up until this point, it's been through, March, April rents that have been collected, and everybody's saying their rent collection is just as high, high 90 percentile range. But maybe as the longer it goes on, that percentage is going to come down.
June's going to be a June right now. You and I are doing this on June 4th.
Yeah.
June right now, obviously first of the month, the rent's due. Second of the month, the rent's late. Fifth of the month, we start, eviction proceedings. To buy tomorrow, I think it could be a bloodbath with certain people's businesses.
Okay. So then how are you guys planning in your business? I guess you're kind of selling off a lot of your
Yeah, I got two more. I got two more,
complex.
more properties, large properties, and these properties there's government involvement in these properties, so we're all set. We have nothing to worry about with the rents. They're not market rate properties. That obviously comes with its pros and its cons to begin with.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried. But I
So,
know a lot of my clients who are going through it right now are sweating it a little bit.
so what should people do to be planning, or what are you guys doing to plan for the future? Should we still be, I mean, obviously we should always be making offers and always looking for deals.
Yeah.
Um, but the numbers are going to be so skewed maybe over the next 6 to 12 months. It's like,
Yeah.
so what should people do to kind of prepare and plan for the future?
Well, that's a really tough thing to say. I mean, right now, if you're looking at particular deals, you've got to get updated financials. You've got to get rent rolls, and you've got to get trailing 12 financials up to May or whatever month it is that you're in. You want to see how collections are going on that property. You listen to some of these guys saying, "Oh, it's an A-class property, so collections are strong." And yeah, show me the numbers. Show me the bank statements. I don't
Yeah.
believe anything anybody tells me.
I think that A class is going to be the hardest hit. I think that's usually what happens, right? Because everybody kind of will move down.
Oh, well,
think?
I disagree. The A-class people tend to be the people who are in a position of recurring income. The nurses, the doctors, they tend to, a lot of government employees live in Class A rental units. They're still getting paid.
Right.
And a lot of these people still are getting the unemployment. I mean, let me tell you something. I got 2 kids on unemployment right now, and they're loving it.
Yeah.
because it's they're making as much as they were before. It's crazy.
I know.
So,
unfortunately, some of us don't get all that. I mean,
No,
the assistance.
exactly.
I didn't get any. We didn't get any of the stimulus. Nothing. But that's okay.
Oh, I did all right. I did all right. I'm voting
for the
Trump
business.
again.
Well, we don't have the business going, so.
Oh, you got to set it up. You got to set the business up. I mean, that was the best move I ever made. Is pay myself a W-2 income. That's I have the best accountant in the world. She's done wonders for me, and she's if anybody wants her name, email me. I'll send you her name. She works with real estate investors and lawyers, and she does a fantastic job.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So okay. So I think the A-class residents are the ones that are stable. The C-class residents, those are the people that live in the shadow economy. Those are the people that are, get paid in cash a lot of times. They are in trouble. They're in trouble. My heart breaks. How are they eating?
I know.
They've got no money.
Know.
How are they doing it? It's really too bad. It's really too bad.
So maybe the plan going forward is kind of still be making offers, maybe underwrite a little more conservatively.
Yeah.
Just
and the
really
other thing
know the market that you're in.
You got to put up new provisions in your offers, for force majeure provisions, which basically say, hey, because of these issues that are going on right now, you've got to give me a little bit more leeway in how I get my deal underwritten by the lenders. Because think about it, part of doing the mortgage is the bank is going to send out their engineer. They're going to do an appraisal. They're going to want to walk the property. They can't go into units. They just can't go into units. With Corona, it's just they're not allowed. That's going to cause, and some, Fannie and Freddie have come out with rules on how they're going to do those inspections, even post closing. So that's part of the problem right there. And the thing is, there are actually we're trying to educate the brokers and let them know that we can't put a hard date on a financing contingency because it's dependent upon a third party who's dependent upon fourth parties. And there's just so many, unknowns that we can't guarantee that we're going to get our commitment letter in 60 days.
Yeah.
So instead, what we do is we can write the contract so that the closing is 15 days after lender approval. And, that's one way of getting around that particular issue. But you got to get creative, and you've got to realize. I was talking to one of my students yesterday, and he's doing a 30-day deal. He was trying to make his offer look really strong, and he's going to remove the financing contingency, or he said or make the financing contingency 30 days. I said, why bother? You're never going to get any, you're just not going to find out in 30 days whether you get this thing approved or not. So just go without the financing contingency and make your decision after 30 days. And you're either going to own this property or you're going to lose your earnest money. So
So there's, so many unknowns coming up, but again, like we said, just keep looking for deals, be out there, be in the market. Like you said, be talking to everybody, working the business every single day. So there's tons of other questions, obviously, in deep dive we can go into, but on a limited time frame, So my next question is, what's your favorite way to learn about real estate, to like learn in the area? Obviously mentorship, you like that because you have the mentor program, but for somebody just getting started or in the beginning stages of multifamily, books, podcasts, what should they be doing? Just probably do all of it.
Do all of it. Do all of it. Find out who's right. Listen, I'm in that space that, I'm called the guru and I hate that, but I'm in that space as well. There are some good guys. There are some shysters. There are some people that have never done it before and they're out there teaching you how to do it. You've got to understand who all these people are and get to work, listen to all of them on all their training. And then when it comes time for you to really do the deal, pick one that you like and sign on up and learn everything you can. Yeah. So, and I am the best in the business, Justin, but you knew that. So,
that's why we got scheduled up together, huh?
Exactly.
So, well, then go ahead and touch on that. Like tell everybody about your, you've mentioned it already, but your company, your business, how they can reach out to you and find all the information.
So you can find out multifamilyinvestingacademy.com is my website. And you've got a whole bunch of training on there and information about my program. My program is, when you come on board, you get close to 1,000 hours of video training that I've done in the last 10 years on virtually every topic about multifamily. And more importantly, though, you get me, you get my cell phone number. My students call me, since since I'm sitting here, I got to return a couple of calls as soon as I hang up. My students, because I'm a lawyer, I teach my students that I'm a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. You're going to hire a lawyer. But nevertheless, I look, act, and feel like a lawyer. So when you have an issue, you call my office, you call my cell phone, I answer it, and I solve the problem for you. You have direct access to me. I don't have all of these, coaches sitting at a desk with a 3-ring binder answering your questions. It is me. I've done this a million times. You know that when you speak to me, you're going to get the straight poop. So that's the biggest thing about my program is my students work directly with me. And then what also I've done is over the years, I've realized that every time you're doing a deal, you come up against the exact same problems every time. A proof of funds letter, earnest money deposit, key principal, equity. So my program provides all of my students with solutions to those problems. I don't come with all the equity, but I help you every way I can to raise the money to get the deal done. And every Monday, all of my students come together for a live coaching call, and all of my students are friends with all of my students. And my students do deals together. They're partners together. They invest in other people's deals. And that's the type of tribe I've always looked to develop. And I absolutely love the owner forum. That's what it's called. It's called the owner forum. It's a blast. And we're making some modifications to it. So the next 30 to 60 days, it will also include all your securities work as well.
Okay.
So it's going to be a one-stop shop. There's going to be no reason, to go. You go to these other gurus that charge $40,000, $50,000, and then you get started, and then you go out to syndicate a deal, and then you get to spend another $25,000 with a syndication attorney. Our program is going to be a one-stop shop for all that stuff.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah. Well, Charles, there's tons of good information. I mean, obviously we can't touch on everything, but I would love to. And if anybody has any questions, reach out to Charles, Multifamily Investing Academy. And all the info will be in the show notes. And Charles, thanks again for being here. Appreciate it.
Justin, awesome. This was fun. You can go back to bed now, because I did all the talking. I did all the work.
I'm not going to go do work or make any money today. I'm just going to chill out and put my feet up.
Done. Make an offer. You got to make an offer today.
Okay, we'll do it. Thanks, Charles.
All right. Thanks, Justin. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.